they think gonna beat them Bengals? The reigning AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals have completely rebuilt their offensive line in the offseason, adding Lyle Collins, Ted Karras, and Alex Cappa. They start the draft at number 31. They have 8 picks. Who are they going to add? ESPN Radio's The Sportsocracy will tell you next.
The Cincinnati Bengals offseason, it's been pretty successful. They had one job, protect your quarterback, and they've done it. Rebuilding the offensive line, much the way I think a lot of teams need to do, like the Carolina Panthers for one. But despite the fact that they have rebuilt their offensive line, number 1 pick in the draft, going to be an offensive lineman, according to Flostradamus Jeremy Greene here in the Sportsocracy 2022 post free agency mock draft.
Well, at picking at 31, they missed the corner run. There was a big run of corners right in front of them. I also told you they were in on Stephon Gilmore, and now it seems to be it's between them and the Las Vegas Raiders. So, with the 31st pick, I have them taking Bernard Raymond. That is a player that can come in immediately and start at guard. I didn't love the Jackson Carman pick when you made it. I don't love it now. And the thing about Raymond, he can play every spot on the line other than center. So no matter what it is you need, he could. If you told me he's a swing tackle to begin with because you want to just see what, okay. I don't think that's how that would go. I think he would come in and Cincinnati would go, sweet baby Lord, that gigantic human moves in a way that few do.
Right.
They have solidified 3 of 5 spots on that line. Mm-hmm. I still maintain that they need a left tackle, but everybody's just hammering me about that, so you know what? That's the last time I'm going to say it.
Jonah Williams graded well last year.
Middle of the road. I still would like to have seen him go get Teron Armstead, but a very nice second runner-up to that would be going and getting Lyle Collins on what I think was a hell of a deal.
Hell yeah.
But Bernard Raymond would slide in right in that left guard spot in between Karras and Jonah Williams. I think he would greatly help Jonah Williams and would be just a tremendous asset as a pulling guard.
Lyle Collins might have been a little bit of a risk, but at $30 million for 3 years.
What they gave him, he's not. He got literally $5 million less a year than I thought he was. He's one of the best right tackles in this league.
Agreed. At number 63 overall in the second round, the Cincinnati Bengals pick could be Troy Anderson, linebacker out of Montana State.
He's a freak. He's just a freak of nature. I think he can come in and start right away. You might have to be a little patient with him, level of competition coming out of Montana State. But he's just an athletic marvel. 6'3", 240. I think he's going to be able to come in and instantaneously and deal with tight ends. I think he's going to be a matchup nightmare. He started as a freaking quarterback and a receiver and a running back.
Yep.
And a linebacker. He's just a jack of all trades. He's just one of those players that's going to go higher than people believe. Oh, but he went to a small school. I don't care. He went to the combine and blew it out. Mm-hmm. And everything you see on tape, he's raw. He's raw. He's got one real good year of linebacker tape. Now, that being said, I think you can play him anywhere. And not that you would. He's a linebacker in this league. I just feel like he's a player you're going to be able to move around as a chess piece, and this is what the league's going to. This is that Isaiah Simmons role where, are you a great football player right this second? With him, I would say yes, because you've been good at everything you've ever done. Are you a great linebacker at this point? No, you're raw, but I can slot you in, figure out where you fit. I know you're going to man one of those linebacker spots. I just have to figure out which one it is.
At number 95 overall in the third round, Alontae Taylor, cornerback out of Tennessee.
I vehemently disagree with the industry on this. I think Alontae Taylor's a corner.
Okay.
And have for a long time. Virtually every person I've heard talk about him is, he's going to have to move to free safety in the NFL. Oh, yeah, he ran a 4.36 at the combine. Oh, yeah, he looked super fluid at the combine.
Mm-hmm.
I say this about every Tennessee player we talk about. Now, I think with Josh Heupel, this is going to stop happening over time. I don't feel like they got the most out of this kid, and there are 4 other Tennessee players in this draft that I feel the exact same way about. I think he can be a number 2 corner in this league, and you're getting him at the back end of the third round. With Trey Waynes being cut, whether you sign Stephon Gilmore or not, I think you will. He comes in and is your third outside corner.
Mm-hmm.
Can learn from, especially if they sign Gilmore, can learn from a very high level corner And I think he projects to be a starter in this league sooner than later. Can't tell you it's going to be in year one. There's still some raw, technique as a run defender is not great, but I can teach that. He has very fluid hips. I think he's a corner. I hear everybody talk about the safety conversion, and I think he would be phenomenal at that if you did it. I just don't think you have to. No. I think you can play corner in this league.
Cincinnati Bengals shoring up that offensive line. Ted Karras is going to come in and play center. Maybe this is the long-term backup for him at 136 overall in the fourth round. Luke Fortner, center out of Kentucky.
Center is not a great position in this draft, but I feel like Luke Fortner is one of those guys that can come in immediately, be the backup. If something happened to Ted Karras, the play's not going to fall off a cliff. And that's going to be important for the Bengals. Yes, you have solidified the starters. Look at what sits behind them, because it ain't great. You remember Hakeem Adeniji and how he was just a turnstile?
Awful.
Yeah, he's one of the backups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you remember Isaiah Prince, who was just a turnstile? Yeah, he's one of the backups.
Penalty nightmare, too.
And I think they got a guy last year in Deontay Smith. I told you out of East Carolina that's a program that, well, I'm a little more acclimated to than most. He's a raw project. And I think in time, he'll be a player, too. But a guy like Luke, to me, Luke Fortner, even though he will be a year younger in the league, is probably a year ahead of him, technique, and just overall play-wise. Do I think he will be as good in the long run? No. But if you needed somebody to come in, if something happened to Karras, if something happened to one of the guards, because he can play all three interior line spots, this is a value depth piece in a draft that doesn't have a lot of those.
In the fifth round at 174 overall, there is no more C.J. Uzomah. He is now with the New York Jets.
Jets, Jets. I already love him, by the way. Yes, we overpaid him, and I'm sorry, Cincinnati Bengals fans, that we had to steal him from you, but I already love him. Just the fact that people are talking about he's banging Kay Adams, that just tells me that this is a match made in heaven.
Oh, no. Kay Adams. That's your little dream.
I'm not saying he is. I have no idea. It has become a very popular theory on Jets Twitter.
You went out and got Hayden Hurst on a one-year deal, and now in the draft, tight end out of Maryland, Chiggy Okonkwo.
And look, Hayden Hurst was a good value. You got him 1 year prove-it deal. Had he been anywhere else last year, I think he would have been better. Hayden Hurst is a good blocker. He's got good-ish hands, and he's older than you think he is.
Mm-hmm.
Played baseball in either high school or college. He played pro baseball.
He played out South Carolina.
Yeah, he played pro baseball at one point, and he's a little older than you think.
Right.
So Hayden Hurst can be the one-year stopgap. Okonkwo is not a finished product by any stretch. He's much more athlete right now than he is anything else. Ran a 4.52 with combine, 6'2", 240. He's never going to be the matchup nightmare size imposing tight end. He's a pretty damn good route runner right now. I think he could play some H-back if you asked him to. He's just a versatile utility piece. I think he'll help Joe Mixon. He's not a great blocker right now, but I think he can be in time. Good frame. Needs to bulk up a little bit because he is a little on the thin side. And I think he can add good weight to the frame without losing the athletic ability that's what intoxicates everybody.
2022 post-free agency mock draft here in the Sportsocracy in the Ingalls studio. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. And at the sixth round, 209 pick, Cade Mays, guard out of Tennessee.
I said this about Trey Smith last year, and I'm going to say it about Cade Mays this year. People are going to miss on this kid, and he's going to be a starter in this league.
Mm-hmm.
He was a high-level recruit. I'm not going to tell you he's the best run blocker you've ever seen, but protecting Joe Burrow? Absolutely. Absolutely. And look, am I kind of throwing Jackson Carman out with the bathwater? A little bit. Because I think Cade Mays would play ahead of him immediately. He's more talented. The thing about Cade Mays is that if you're a Baltimore Ravens, San Francisco 49ers, New York Jets that wants to just downhill run the ball down your throat, he's not your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're a Joe Burrow drops back and throws 42 times a game, he could be a day one starter. And I believe that. There's not many players in this draft that I think that you get at 209 that have the potential to be starters. I think there's great depth in this draft. But there's not a lot of guys that I think you wouldn't be just up a creek without a paddle if they had to play early. Cade Mays is one of them that I think can.
And this would be a hell of a luxury for Cincinnati. If you're planning on starting Bernard Raymond, the first-round pick, at one guard spot, you got Alex Cappa at the other guard spot. Now Cade Mays
is a luxury.
Right.
Right. That's the thing about being this good, is that you can afford – this is how teams that are good stay good forever, because they can take players like this, looking at, all right, let's just go Alex Cappa. All right. So you signed it – that was, a 4-year deal?
3, I think.
40?
I believe that's right.
I remember $40 million. That's the bulk of what I remember. So he's 27 years old.
4 at 35.
4 at 35.
Yep.
He's 27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's say something weird happens. It's real nice to have a Cade Mays sitting behind him that can do damn near everything. That's just, and people don't talk about what I'm getting ready to say enough. This is a guy that you really like having in that offensive line room because he's insanely fucking smart. Dean's List at Tennessee. And look, I'm not sitting here telling you, I mean, West Virginia boy's not going to sit here and tell you this is Harvard, but he's a really bright kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that the value proposition shit with Cade Mays is enough to make him a value there in the 6th round.
I will tell you this. As a Georgia fan, we were all upset when he transferred from Georgia to Tennessee because his brother played there. He was a legacy there. We were upset to lose this kid in the locker room. In the 7th round at 226 overall, the first of 2 picks in the 7th round for the Cincinnati Bengals, J.T. Woods, safety out of Baylor.
Hyper athletic safety. Very raw technique-wise. Really needs to tighten the run angles. That Baylor defense was ridiculously athletic. The only thing is that you didn't see a lot of downhill running because it's the Big 12. That's spread them out, shoot them out football. Mm-hmm. This kid does that very well. And I think he can be a nice move piece in time. He's a free safety. I think in a single high, one of the biggest knocks on him was that he does not play as fast as he runs. I think you can work on that in time. There's not a player that you expect to contribute early. I think he'd be a special teams contributor early, but not a down in, down out player. Could be an ultimate depth piece to Jesse Bates, but I think at this point in the draft, there's not a ton of players that play safety that are 6'2", $195 that run 4.35 40s. So there's a lot of raw that you're going to have to refine, but it's a luxury pick for a very talented Cincinnati Bengals team.
252nd pick overall, still in the 7th round, obviously. Here with the Cincinnati Bengals, running back out of Michigan, Hassan Haskins.
I am not as wild about Hassan Haskins as everybody else is. His big games were ridiculous. But there were a lot of games where he was just kind of an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he's very pro-ready. Comes in and would be, I would say, the 3rd running back to start with. I don't understand the fascination with Samaje Perine, but maybe that's because his brother came to the Jets and wasted a 4th-round pick.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I do look at Hassan Haskins. Chris Evans is going to be the passing down guy. Whether it's this year or just in time, I couldn't tell you. But I loved him coming out, and I still love him. I look at Hassan Haskins and go, there weren't as many snaps with him that I think there's a lot of tread on the tires. And I think he can be a good spell back in the NFL. I do not think he's a starter, and I never have. But in the right system, I think he's a nice compliment to Joe Mixon. You don't need him to be that guy yet. 4 years on a rookie deal. I've said it routinely. I would never give a running back a second contract. I think you can get 3 high-level years of production out of this kid as a backup to Joe Mixon.
All right, there it is, your 2022 post-free agency mock draft for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Cincinnati, you set the record on the last one. You were the most viewed of all of our teams. We appreciate you from the depths of our heart. I was a Bengal hater. And now you have become my de facto, hey, you're good and we're not, so I'm going to secretly root for you.
Yeah.
Team. If you like these picks, if you don't like them, put them in the comments. We happily answer those every day. If there's a player that you would like to know how they fit with the Bengals, if there's a player you would like to know how I feel about them, comment those out. I answer those every day. And who they think going to beat them Bengals?
Not too many people, I don't think, anymore. Everybody thought they could beat them last year. They ain't sneaking up on nobody this year. It's the 2022 post-free agency mock draft for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. This is the Angles Studio, and we will see you next time.